Okay, so today we'll be focusing on the nose and the lips and a little bit of the chin, so the lower part of the face. So first we're looking at this model and want to point out that the light is illuminating about 3/4 of the face. And usually when you're looking at, like, say, the nose, you can see a clear highlight that's going right down the center of your nose. So your nose is the part of the face that sticks out the farthest. It also should be thought of as three separate planes. There's the side of the nose to the right, there's kind of the flat part down the center, and then there's the part on the left that's angled. So you want to think of those as three different values there. There's a medium side, a light side, and a dark side. If you'll look under the nose, there's usually some kind of a cast shadow. The nose tends to block the light source, so underneath the nose there is a cast shadow. And now if we go to the lips, you'll see that the lips, the top part, the upper lip is in shadow, and the lower lip is not as much in shadow. It's a little bit lighter. There is a little bit of a shadow, but not quite as intense as the top lip. This is going to be true of most lips that we draw. Right, so I know that you can't see me doing this, but off to the left, that's where I have my picture reference, and I'm taking my pencil and I'm actually measuring the length of the nose with my pencil. So you can see I have my finger at a point that I'm making sure I have the top of the nose, the bottom of the nose measured. So we're going to make this exactly the same size as the reference. So right now I'm measuring from the bottom of the nose to the chin, and I'm making little marks. So you've seen me do this before, I think, where I kind of lay things in by making little marks to get the measurements of things. That's pretty typical of most artists. You want to make sure that you have things kind of placed correctly before you commit to them. So we're going to approach this in a loose, sort of gestural way. So this is the bottom of the nose we're getting here. The key here is going light. And I'm using broken lines. I'm using a series of lines to describe the form. So the bottom of the nose is like 5 lines that I used. Again, super light, barely touching the paper. That's what I'd like from you as well. Now, I do think it's a good idea to draw a dividing line right down the center line of the face. So it's a vertical line. You can use the ruler that's at your easel to do it, but I just freehanded drawing a vertical line. It's a little bit crooked, but that's to help you line up the features, because what happens on one side of the face happens to the other side. It's like this mirror image thing. It's called symmetry. So it'll help you to align your features correctly. And up at the top, I'm getting kind of the curve where the nose connects up to the eyebrows. When you're rendering the nose, it's important that the nose is widest at the base, narrowest as it connects up with the eyebrows. Nostrils can be tricky. On this person's face, they look sort of like a very narrow teardrop, or like a candy cane that's turned on its side, like an angled candy cane. It also kind of looks like a slice of a white mushroom. If you sliced off a white mushroom, it kind of has that shape to it as well. There is a danger of making the nostrils look too open, and that'll make your person look more like they have a pig snout. And you'll see throughout the cycle of this drawing, I adjust them more than one time. So that's why these lines are kind of light, they're loose, they're gestural. If I need to correct something, it's no biggie. And that dividing line is helping me because I want to make sure that what happens to the left side happens equally to the right. So the nose is done for now, because we're going to go back in and the rest of the nose is done with shading. The nose doesn't have that much line to it unless you're looking at the nose from the profile. So right now we're going to try and capture the mouth. Because we have the nose to chin set up, what you're going to do is divide the space into thirds. So the mouth can be found on the top third if you divide from the nose to the chin. However, if you're struggling with that, you can just do a measurement from the bottom of the nose to where the top lip starts. So you can actually just measure that on your reference picture and transfer that to your drawing. That works too, either one. When drawing the lips, I almost always start off with the middle line. That's where the two lips meet. And it has a peculiar shape to it. It's not a straight horizontal line. It's almost like it goes down and then up and then down right in the middle and then up and then back down. So there's some undulations to it. It's almost like there's two hills there. It sort of echoes the shape of the top lip, but it's a little bit more subdued. Okay, so now I'm going to the top lip and I'm going to have that be a little bit more obvious of like those two hills that you can see. I call them hills, but they're not. They're just like these two bumps there on that top lip. And the bottom lip tends to be fuller than the top lip on most people. Not true of everyone, but it's a generality. And that bottom lip is a little bit fuller and plumper, which is why it sticks out a little bit more. That bottom lip is just kind of a curve, although there are some angle changes that you can see there too. Notice that I'm still going super light, lots of lines to describe things. It's not perfect, but because I'm going so light, I can make adjustments as I go and correct my drawing. Now it is important that you get the chin in there. I would double check the distance from the bottom of the lip, where that bottom lip ends, to the chin to make sure that you have the length of the chin correct. And then you're going to lightly describe that side of the face and chin. So now we're going to get in some of the shading, and we're going to do it lighter than you ultimately think you have to go. It's always good practice to do it that way. Now on some of these reference pictures, like the one I'm using, you kind of have to hunt for the values. But on this one, I can tell that the nostrils, inside of the nostrils, are the darkest areas. But the bottom of the nose has a value to it as well. There's a shadow there. And there's a shadow shape on that top lip. That top lip is definitely a little bit darker than the bottom lip. There's also a little shadow located right below the lower lip. You want to look for that on yours too. So keep comparing your reference picture to your photo. I'm just going to switch over so you can just see the drawing alone. And I am using a diagonal hatch. Now I have done a little bit of outlining, but ultimately I don't want the viewer to see that outline. And because I've gone super light, I can shade all the way up to the outline and have that outline fade out. I will be going in and erasing out that bisecting line, the line that's dividing the face in half vertically, because I don't want the viewer to see that. And I am going to the left side of the face because there's a little bit of shading on the left side. It's a form shadow, so technically that's going to be an ombre or a gradient. Remember, gradient and ombre are the same term. They're synonymous. So it's a light shadow. If I go too dark, it's going to make it look like she's got some beard growth going on there, and I don't want that. Go ahead and stop here for right now.